Yo, what is up, everybody? This is a Madden 17 online game, in case you couldn't tell by now. The Ravens are the team we're covering today for the NFL 32 team preview series for the upcoming season. We do not have much time to work with today, so we got to get this in chop, chop, chop. So the Ravens, before the season has even started, the storyline already for this team is injuries. Injuries. A couple months ago, Tavon Young tore his ACL. Young, promising cornerback, looked like one of the steals of last year's draft, and he won't be a part of next season because he is out of here. Next up, you got Joe Flacco with this back problem. That's the big story right now. How much is Flacco going to play this season? You know, he might miss a couple of weeks in the regular season. When he comes back, how efficient is he going to be? You know, it's really ugly, clouded doubt over the Baltimore Ravens. And if that wasn't bad enough, they lost Kenneth Dixon, their young, promising running back. He's out for the year. Then, Crocky Gilmore, I think he's out for the year because they just signed Larry Donnell, and Crocky Gilmore just had surgery on a meniscus, so that's not looking too good. That's their starting tight end that just got taken out, so we haven't even started the season yet, and the Ravens are already battered up, and the Ravens have already been battered up by losing players due to free agency. That's been the story of the Baltimore Ravens since they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. It's everyone is leaving, but who is coming back? Thankfully, the Ravens have been one of the best drafting teams for years now. That's how they've been consistently good in the NFL, and that's why they were, you know, not too bad even last year. But the amount of players that walk through the door for the Ravens is basically the amount of players that they draft that are not around anymore. Like, if you look at the 2012 draft, you know, they drafted Upshaw, he's gone. Osmele, he's gone. Bernard Pierce, nowhere to be found. Like, no one in this 2012 draft, I think, is even on their roster. 2013 draft, Matt Elam, who knows where he is. Arthur Brown, don't know. Brandon Williams is thankfully around for them, but Kyle Juszczyk, gone. Ricky Wagner, gone. Big time names that are gone. Even 2014 draft, Timmy Jernigan, he's gone. Crocky Gilmore just tore his, you know, or something happened to his meniscus. So a bunch of these guys that they're drafting that are good, they're good, but they just can't keep them around, and a lot of it is salary cap problems, and they've been pretty hamstrung, especially with the Joe Flacco contract. And you know, it's a contract they had to sign. Joe Flacco bet on himself and won. The Ravens paid for it, and they're still paying for it right now. So, looking at their roster, looking to see what the Ravens can make out of this season to try to make a playoff push anyways. Like I said, they've been one of the better drafting teams in the NFL, and last year they drafted Ronnie Stanley out of the draft, and Stanley, you know, he looks like he has potential to be a franchise left tackle for them. So we'll see if he plays a full season this year, what he can do for this squad. But I think he definitely has potential to be a franchise left tackle. And then you got Marshall Yanda, and Yanda's been around for years, and he's been one of the best right guards in the NFL for years. So there's really not much doubt that he's going to do the same thing this season. Otherwise, though, there are definitely a lot of questions on this offensive line. And this used to be one of the best offensive line units, but they've just slowly but surely just lost one by one pieces on this offensive line unit. Osmele left last year. Wagner left in this offseason. So, you know, they had names, they just couldn't keep them all around. The running back position is basically, it's all up to, shoot, what's his name? I forget his name. Terrence West, that's his name, former Browns running back. Terrence West, it's all up to him, and I thought last year he was pretty decent for them. You know, for a guy that got cut and just picked up by the Ravens, I thought he worked out pretty well as a starting running back for them, and he can work out as a starting running back. It's just not your ideal franchise running back, especially with the situation that's going on in Baltimore. And personally, you know, I didn't think Baltimore's running game was too bad last year. I just, you know, it wasn't that great, but they definitely could run the ball more, especially this year with the lack of weapons that they're entering the season with at the wide receiving spot, and then tight end potentially as well. So they could run the ball, but, you know, we just got to see if Terrence West can handle that load and see who else steps up for the Ravens this season. They signed Danny Woodhead. I guess that's worth mentioning. I don't know exactly what Danny Woodhead brings at this point of his career, but they did sign Danny Woodhead in the offseason. So, the wide receiver spot, they signed Jeremy Maclin. And Maclin, that could be a pretty nice signing for the Ravens. The Ravens seem to always find these random dudes, sign them for a little bit, or just pull them out in free agency. Or, like, just guys like Terrence West, just bring them off the street in the middle of the season. And Maclin could be one of those guys. Maclin wasn't too hot last season for the Kansas City Chiefs, so they just cut him. They decided, you know, we got salary cap problems, and you're not really worth having around. One man's trash is another man's goal. I said another video, and it might work out for the Ravens, but it's TBD. So, basically, the Ravens' big problem right now is they do not have a #1 receiver. Is Maclin be able to fill that void? I don't really know. Steve Smith Sr. is gone, and Mike Wallace looks like he's going to be the #1 guy. He had a 1,000-yard season last season, so it's not like Mike Wallace was bad last season, but I mean, Mike Wallace has proven that he's probably not your ideal #1 receiver. We all know the big contract he got in Miami and how that I don't want to say worked out, 'cause it didn't really work out. Now, the good news is the Ravens defense, oh yeah, by the way, Brashad Perriman. Jury's still out on him, but right now it's not looking good. The defense has a chance to be elite, but they got to find some pass rushers. They had a top 5 run defense last year, and especially with Brandon Williams inside, it could be a top 10 run defense again this year, if not top 5. But who's going to rush the quarterback this season? Is it going to be Tim Williams? Is it going to be Carl Davis? Like, is it going to be one of these guys? Is it going to be someone they drafted this year? Like, warmly, they literally drafted Mario and Luigi's rival, Bowser, Tyus Bowser out of Houston. We'll see how that works out for them. In the secondary, it's looking okay for them. It's not really looking too bad. They got Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith can play healthy this season. They signed Brandon Carr in the offseason, and Carr, I mean, he proved he can't be a #1 guy, but around Jimmy Smith, around, you know, the great safety duo that they have in Eric Weddle and Tony Jefferson, has potential to be the best safety duo in the NFL this season, believe it or not. Weddle, of course, is that guy. And then Tony Jefferson was brilliant last year, especially, you know, open field tackles for that team. But, I mean, the Ravens, they just lose so many guys. It's unbelievable. They lost their leading tackler last year in Zach Orr, but the good news is they still got C.J. Mosley. Though, it's just, you know, they got names in this front 7. It's just that they have no depth, and the pass rush, gotta find someone to rush that passer. So, as you can tell, my opponent rage quit, so we're just at the menu right here since I had to get a couple of things off my chest. So, the Ravens' record, I think, this year will be somewhere around 8-8 and 7-9, especially with all these injuries. This is part of the reason why I would rather do the season preview series now rather than July, because you find out all these injury news now that, you know, if I did the Ravens preview 2 weeks ago, I would have never known all these dudes would have fallen off the face of the earth, you know? But knowing this information now and looking at the Ravens roster and all that, you know, they do play the AFC South. The entire AFC North plays the AFC South, and that can help them maybe make a playoff push. But I think it doesn't seem like it's going to be Baltimore's year this year. They go somewhere between 6-10 and 8-8. I say 7-9. So, Ravens fans, let me know what you guys think. You guys think you can make this playoff push? I know you guys might be feeling a little bit queasy, but if there's any optimism for you guys, let me know why. Let me know who you think is going to step up to the plate this season. Everyone else, let me know what you guys think about the Ravens seasons. Leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. I'll catch you guys next time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this screen we've been looking at for the last 2 minutes.